Hello, I'm Otto, and welcome back to Dyson Sphere program. So in the last episode, we set up some oil processing. We also set up some energetic graphite over here, a little bit of proliferation over here, and then set up our blue and red science, with the consumption of the science being over here. So we did set up more than we needed. That was intentional. That is what I like to call the buffer killer. The majority of what's going to be consumed is just the first stack and a little bit of the second stack. So we're actually going to increase the capacity for the blue science. The blue science and red science right now are crafting at equal amounts. But as you can see with this this technology over here, there are some early on that kind of favor some of the initial ones. So I'm going to speed this up just a little bit, just so that we can get through some of these in this episode. So I'm going to double up on this one. We're not doubling up on this one, the red, we're just doubling up on the blue. Yeah, so we are going to be leaving the planet. So a couple of things that we're going to be doing before then is we're going to be setting up some combustible units. So it's probably been too long. I'm going to move that to the front. We are also going to remove these two because I also need holo beacon. And we're going to move the mecha core and the drive engine up a bit and unlock the titanium smelting. So we probably don't need these to be in the front. I need these two to be in the front. But a lot of these will start to research a little bit faster now that we have more blue science going. So something else that I noticed after the last episode was I have several of these that are not crafting, and I was like, why are these not consuming anything? And I got to looking. I guess whenever I had placed these sorters, I had shift-clicked these, which also gave us the filters. So I'm going to just click on these and remove the filters for the hydrogen. And then I'm going to copy those and paste those on. Take another look. They are all functioning now. Perfect. Okay, so for the combustible units. So the combustible units just need coal. So we're going to drag the coal out that we have for personal use over here. And we're going to add in an assembling machine with a chest to collect it in. And another assembling machine. We can get this going. So the nice thing about the combustible units is it's 3 times the energy capacity of coal, more or less. So we will be able to go a lot longer without having to refuel. In theory. In practice, we're going to be refueling about the same amount because as we start traversing the stars, there will be a lot more energy consumption. So we're going to have that going, and we're going to limit this to 8 stacks. So something else that the combustible units can be used for, which I've never really used before, but we're going to play around with doing that in this episode, maybe, is you can actually use them as a thrown item. So there's a couple of things that you can use as thrown items, and this just happens to be one of them. Before we take off, there are a few other things that I want to get done. One is I like to kind of have a little bit of a dump for items that we either can't get rid of or don't want to get rid of. One is the wood, and another one for now is going to be the proliferator, since we don't have, or the spray coat, since we don't really have anywhere to place that. And I'm going to start the process of getting rid of some other things. We will need a little bit of foundation just to get rid of some of the dark fog. Let's clean this up. So let's get rid of our liquids. I'm going to need some more stone brick and steel. We're going to just grab some of those. I can get rid of pretty much everything else, though. The glass can go. Magnetic rings can go. Circuits can go. Gears can go. The magnets can be tossed into these. And the iron. Okay. So why did we need the holo beacon? One of the things that I like to do before taking off is to set up a section where I kind of like almost like a refueling station. So we're going to set this up, and then we're going to give this a beacon so that we can identify where it is whenever we come back. And if you don't have the achievement for setting up 12 of these and being powered by them, then this is what that would look like. So we're going to take this and we're going to take a holo beacon and stick that roughly in the middle. So we're going to click on it and open the advanced settings. You can kind of see that now we have this like shiny little tower. That's a nice little indicator on where things are. So when we open this up, we're going to rename this to just the wireless tower. And this icon is also going to be the wireless tower. We can also change the color if we want. So let's give this some kind of a yellow maybe. Sure. And the mark level, we want to set this not on the local planet. We want to actually have this in the local planetary system. So that way we can identify it from a distance while we're out and about. We also, or one of the things that I like to do is you can adjust the height. So you can make it pretty tall or near the ground. And you can make it either basically non-existent as far as the visibility goes, or give it a nice little ring. So I'm going to set it up like this. We're going to have it on the ground and very visible. That way we can kind of identify it from just about anywhere. I also want to start the process of collecting a few of the things that we're going to need. So let's get from the main. We're going to need some belts. We're going to need a little bit of extra stone brick, actually. We need 2 full stacks of stone brick and steel. Maybe 5 full stacks of this. There we go. Sorters, sure. 2 full stacks. 2 full stacks is good. We are going to need some more smelters, wind turbines, ammo. So we're going to be dealing with the dark fog. So let's get maybe 11 full stacks. Miners we will need more of. And then the oil extractors we can get rid of. The oil refiners we can get rid of. The liquid collecting we can get rid of. Chemical plants we can get rid of. And the matrix labs we can get rid of. So we don't need any more of those. We probably don't need any more of the assembling machines either, but you know what, just in case, we'll hold on to those. Okay, so that just about does it. So let's get the combustible units. That's not really that many. I can take some of the coal that we have and handcraft some of these.
Insufficient materials.
Sure. Oof. Like 6 minutes worth of crafting. Nice. 7 minutes worth of crafting. Alright, so that just about does it. I actually do... Oh, we're gonna have to stop this. One last thing that I like to do, once this is researched, is we are going to be setting up kind of a little bit of a collection section. So as we leave the planet, we will want somewhere to kind of add some things that we're going to bring with us. Let's go with 6. Can I move this up? I can't. Whoops. Get that going and then finish these off. Awesome. So with the new storage depot, we are going to make a few of these, and I think maybe 3 stacks. We're going to have maybe 6. And 1 more. So we're going to bring stuff back with us, and it is going to be more than our inventory can hold. So it is nice to preemptively place some storage down. I don't know exactly where all of this is going to go. Some of it's going to go over this direction. Some of it's going to go back here maybe. So somewhere near the starter base, I like to just set something up like that. Anyways, with that, we can now take off. So getting the last of the combustible units that are here. Something else the combustible units are used for is you can actually use them as a thrown weapon. So we will be playing around with that. Okay, so I like to take off from this area, and the reason why is because when you take off, you use quite a bit of energy, so this will still give us power before we take off, and that'll just give us a little bit of extra juice when we're out and about. Oh, this game is so cool. This is the coolest thing. You can just leave a planet and then come back. It's pretty awesome. Okay, so we are looking for Al-Rami 4. Something else that I like to do is I like to rename our star. So that's going to rename the system. And instead of Al-Rami, I like to call this Center of the Universe. That way we always know where home is. That will also rename the planet. So this one is now Center of the Universe 4. This one is Center of the Universe 1. The gas giant is 2. And our home planet is still Hagara. I also like to rename the gas giant just to kind of give a better indication. Same thing, just to kind of make sure we know where home is. And I jokingly like to call this Jupiter. So the planet that we're going to is the 4th one, and I'm going to give it an indicator that makes it a lot easier to find if you are, if you're trying to like look around and find it and you can't figure out where it is. There you go. We're going to speed up, and I'm not going to bore you with the entire trip, but we are going to increase our speed until we have maybe about a fifth or a quarter of the power left. We also want to dodge the dark fog, so we want to go around that, and to be able to maneuver we do need some power to be able to turn. Okay, and we have arrived at the planet, so we need to find somewhere that has both silicone and... Actually, this is probably good right here. Silicone and titanium. Yay, we traveled. I suppose we could have unlocked the cosmic exploration, so let's queue that up. I don't think there's too much more. I can get some of these, definitely. Oh yes, definitely the inventory. Just to keep our power going a bit. Okay, so we also want to take care of the dark fog on the planet. We don't want to be messing with them too much, so there's only one. So we're going to go over there, but before we do that, one thing that I like to do is whenever I land on a planet, instead of looking at the map view like this, you can kind of see like, here's the South Pole. As we like start turning, you can kind of see it's like wobbling, and it's kind of a pain. You can hit in, but it doesn't like, match up properly. It's kind of a pain. So one of the things that I like to do is I like to hit Control C to get into the blueprint making section, and we can kind of then see a little bit more. We can see the actual the lines and the tropic lines and the different sections, the poles, and it kind of keeps us oriented properly. So we can see the materials. So at a glance, we can see that there's titanium and silicone here. We could probably use this over here. So we can do this and craft this way. We could do this and craft this way or this way. Maybe some of these and craft over here. We're probably going to use these. We're already right here. But we do want to take care of the dark fog. So we are going to go take care of them first. And another thing that you can do in this is you can shift and right click, and you can actually move in the direction. So if you're having a hard time finding something, like say this little coal patch, you're like, I can't see the coal patch, you can look for it in this view and then shift right click, and you will head in that direction. So something else that I like to do right whenever I land, if you don't have the combustible units at this point, then your energy is probably way lower. So we're going to add in some power. Another thing that I didn't mention is you can actually hold shift and it will align the some of the power generating and power distribution items, not all of them. It doesn't work with the... Oh, it does work with the wireless. Awesome. But the Tesla towers, it'll align them into the proper spaces for the grid. So you can, if you're having a hard time lining something up over here, you can just aim for the general direction and that'll be good. So let's get some of this. Maybe drop one of these guys to help out a little bit more. There we go. And then we can give ourselves a little bit of a boost as well.
Replication complete.
And this is not permanent, this is just temporary, so we will take these back. The wind turbines though, we can leave those, so we're gonna just use those. How many do we have? We have 53, so we're gonna use these to kind of drag over towards the dark fog. We get a little bit closer. And we already have a blueprint for kind of attacking them, so I'm gonna open up the blueprints. We have a turret blueprint here. And we don't want to be doing this on the tropic line, so we can either do that on the lower side here or the side here. You could also, I guess, do it like this, but that's a little bit more So we're going to place one of these and maybe another one forward. We can also use some of these guys to help us out.
Upgrade.
These are all just kind of a little bit of a backup plan. And you want to be careful when using the throw option. So we're going to activate this and just... Oh, that's cool. Whoops. Yeah, throwing distance is a little awkward, but that's no big deal. Yeah, oh yeah, definitely want to be careful about using that. Alright, well, once we, yeah, if you actually attack something, it will target you over your turrets. That is just something to be aware of. So I can hit Control V and we can move forward a little bit. Maybe not that one.
Building destroyed. Upgrade complete.
Maybe one more.
Dark fog base core destroyed.
Alright, and the dark fog is now finished on this planet. That is a lot of soil. Alright, we've got enough. Okay, so I am going to get rid of this, and then we are going to get into setting up what we need. So we need some titanium and we need some silicone, so we definitely want to focus on those. This I'll just leave for now. Actually, we can drag this with us. Never hurts to have more power, right?
Flight mode.
And I think I've already mentioned, but probably not. So on this planet, we only have 70% of the wind power, so these are less effective than they are on our other planet. That is something to know. 44 remaining, that's plenty. Okay, so we have a silicone patch here and a titanium patch here. Most people like to go for the titanium first. I personally would prefer to go for the silicone first. So I'm just going to set these two up. I'm going to set up this one here and this one here, and then we will drag some belts over in... You know what, we can just do it down here. It's really not that big of a deal. Okay, so we have silicone ore set up and titanium ore set up. So we could have definitely littered this with machines, but I opted to go for a minimalist approach and was more aiming for coverage, and I knew that I needed at least 2 lanes. So we're going to have 2 lanes of the silicone and 2 lanes of the titanium. Again, same thing over here. I was just going for coverage to make sure... Oh, I missed one. Rip. Oh well. Not a big deal. We can, let's just stick that in there just to make sure that we can actually get some... Oh, come on. There, everything is fully covered. All right. A little bit of a waste, but that's okay. All right, so for this, so we're not going to go with, like I said, the kind of like what we've been doing. We're just going to go for more of what would be like a standard setup. So we're just going to drag 6 of these wide and take a look. Yes, thank you for coming all the way from over there. So for the silicone, we need 2 silicone every 2 seconds to make 1 high purity silicone. So these can share, or what I mean by these is if we had a second set here, these can share a belt in the middle. Since we're only outputting 1 every 2 seconds, we can have 12 that will be 6 per second, which will be the same speed as our yellow belts. So that would be this here. And we would have 1 of these coming in like this, and the other one coming in like this. So now we just need power. So I'm going to place some power here, here, and here. And then the inserters, or the sorters. Yeah, we missed one. There we go. And shift tab that and paste that in. All right, so that is the setup for this. And we will definitely need to collect some of this. So we're going to add in 2 of these. We're going to do this the old-fashioned way. So they're going to be collecting in from here. And then when we eventually get to the ILS, then they will still be able to... Come on. We have more bots, but it is still not enough. So they will output here. So this is a little bit of a buffer. So everything comes through here. If these are fast enough, they can pull it and store it, but then these spit it right back out onto the belt. That allows us to have some storage in here. So we can come through and pull from this, and then if anything gets backed up, it will there will still be some plugged up in here, and this can eventually go into an ILS, an interstellar logistics system. And again, we're not going for anything special. Like, this planet for now is largely not going to be used. We mostly just need it for mining stuff right now. So we can kind of do the same thing. I do not want to do the same recipe. Just wherever. We're not, like I said, we're not aiming for perfection here. We just need to... Yeah, maybe I do want to do it at least right next to it. Just to kind of keep them somewhat close. Alright, so let's take a look at the titanium. So same exact situation. So we have 2 titanium ore coming in every 2 seconds. So that's 1 per second. coming in, and then 1 every 2 seconds going out, which is 1 every 2 seconds, or half of 1 every second, which means 12 of these would be 6 per second. So that means that we can drag this. Now, another thing that we could have done is we can actually... I'm going to copy this whole section, because since it is basically the exact same, we're just going to copy this, use now, and just build it. Some of the stuff won't hook up because we already had, looks like the sorters on the top aren't functioning. We also have to change the recipe. That's the only thing that I don't like about pasting in blueprints, is it doesn't like pasting over something that's existing, so it is kind of janky in that aspect. But it looks like everything else is fine. There, and now we just need this one to also come over. Sure, why not? And now we just need power. I'll see how much that takes our power. Not bad. So since we already have the wind turbines here, we might as well just use them. So we've got another 38. So we're just going to flop these down. That way, if anything happens, we know that these will always be here and available. So we can always like slap down something extra when we come back without having to worry about, oh no, what does the power supply look like? 7 more. Fly, go faster. Okay, so now we have started the process of collecting these. So some other things have happened since we landed. So we have unlocked a few of the technologies. One of them has been the, in the technologies tree, the logistics distribution system. So what that actually did, it gave us something extra. It gave us this one column on logistics. So it actually gave us, there's 2 different ways to use this. This section over here. We can use this with the logistics system to have bots bring us materials. How did I not get, oh, these were from the dark fog. I was like, how did I end up with some of these? Yes, the dark fog are farmable, and they were nice enough to provide us with some materials. Anyways, so yeah, there's 2 different ways to use this. You can either select an item and say, you know what, I want you to make sure that I have belts. How many belts? I want you to provide me with at least 9,000, or at least 1,500, let's say. Something like that. And if you end up with more, you could also say, I don't want any more than, excuse me, I don't want any more than like 3,000. So that's one way to use it. Another way that people use it is you can actually use it as a storage. So now I've got 600 additional belts just sitting over here. Whoops. So for instance, it looks like 2 stacks. So we can get about 2 stacks worth of stuff. So you can have some extra items over here. This is definitely a good idea for power items, things that generate power for you. For warpers, once we get to the point where we have warpers, which allow us to warp throughout the system. Maybe some like concrete. There's a couple of different things, or foundations, sorry. Just things that you might not necessarily need right away. Or if you're planning on doing like really big builds, you could bring in some extra assemblers, some extra smelters, maybe some extra, definitely belts or sorters. Me personally, I tend to use it that way. I tend to use it as storage. I don't necessarily use it as a bot setup, but we are actually going to be using it with the logistics bots in this playthrough, so we will be going through that. I'm going to remove all of this. And the reason why I bring that up is because we can actually also toss some of these in. Not much. It's just going to give us 2 stacks, but it's 2 additional stacks that we didn't have before. Same with the titanium. We're going to grab all of this. I am currently more focused on the silicone. We need a lot of silicone coming up for our electronic stuff well before we get to the titanium. So like I said, I'm more interested in getting the silicone. So I'm going to hold off for a little bit before we take off and get back to the planet. I'm also going to take the time to... We're going to set up some additional defenses. So just in case the dark fog comes back, we are going to kind of just maybe around the corners do something like this. Give these guys some power. And maybe 2 stacks. That way, if we do get attacked by the dark fog, we don't have to like rush back. And I say the corners because they're the most likely places to get attacked, and thankfully this is nice and long and thin, so shouldn't be much of an issue. They're going to try to usually come for your power generations, so that is something to be aware of. Anyways, I'm going to set some of this up, and then I am going to grab some of the silicone, and I will see you back on the planet. Okay, so we are getting attacked by the relay station before we even really took off. I've actually never seen one of these land before, so this is kind of a first for me. I've never really paid attention to it, but there we go. It is opened up, and now it is established. All right, well, let's just go ahead and take care of that. I have a little bit of ammo. I did not place any in this one. And I've got a couple of areas set up around. It is what it is. There are some sections that are not very well defended, but yeah, like I said, it is what it is. I'm going to take some of this ammo. We don't really need that much, but excuse me.
Dark fog base core destroyed. Flight mode.
Yeah, there's we're definitely going to be messing around with the dark fog a bit, but it is what it is. All right, so we are back on the planet, and yeah, that is going to be it for me for this episode. In the next episode, we are going to start the process of setting up some logistics stuff just to kind of make the rest of the early game a little bit easier for us. This is going to kind of start bleeding into mid-game, and yeah, there's a few things that we're going to set up on the bus, and then we will start setting up for yellow science, and we'll take a look at that. Okay, so that is it for me for this episode. I will see you in the next episode, and thanks for watching.